When the news broke that Jung Il-Woo had suddenly collapsed, it didn't just rattle headlines. It sent tremors through the entire K-drama world. For fans who have followed his journey for nearly 2 decades, this moment felt surreal, terrifying, and unbearably heartbreaking. But it wasn't just Jung's health that made the world pause. It was the image of Sandara Park, his longtime partner, rushing into the hospital, tear-streaked and trembling, her love and panic written across every movement, every whisper, every breath. Hello K-Update Pulse fans. Welcome back fans. Hello guys. Welcome to my YouTube channel and please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, click on the post notification to get notified whenever I drop a new video. It began with what seemed like an ordinary evening. Jung Il-Woo had just completed a casual dinner with a few close friends and colleagues. The gathering was meant to be a lighthearted break between his relentless schedule, something low-key to recharge. Jung, known for always smiling even under pressure, had reportedly laughed just minutes before the incident. But then, like a scene no one could have prepared for, his entire body seemed to falter. He suddenly froze, hand clutching at his chest. Within seconds, his knees buckled. The room erupted into gasps and chaos as Jung collapsed, his body hitting the floor with a chilling finality. The people around him froze for a moment, not comprehending what had just happened. But soon, the panic set in. Calls to emergency services, attempts to wake him, the frantic shouting of his name. None of it stirred him. His face was pale, his lips slightly bluish, and his breathing, if any, was shallow and strained. Time warped as minutes dragged on like hours. And before anyone could process the shock, paramedics arrived, placing Jung on a stretcher as silent tears streamed down faces that only moments ago wore carefree smiles. The emergency team didn't wait. They moved with quiet urgency, knowing every second mattered. As the ambulance sped off, the only sound louder than the siren was the deafening silence left behind. The man so many admired for his strength and charm now lay still, and the world outside remained unaware for now. But that changed fast. Within minutes, calls were made. The first person to be notified was none other than Sandara Park. She had been in the middle of a dance rehearsal for an upcoming performance when she received the call that shattered her world. Witnesses said she stood frozen for several seconds before her knees gave out. Her phone clattered to the ground as her body shook with panic. Crew members rushed to her side, but she only had one focus: Jung. With eyes filled with dread, she grabbed her jacket, her keys, and fled the studio without saying a word. The drive to the hospital felt endless. Every red light was an enemy. Every second, a thief. As she finally arrived, cameras had already started to circle, and fans began to gather. But Sandara didn't care about the lights, the flashes, or the onlookers. Her heart was racing, her hands trembling as she pushed through the crowd. She shouted Jung's name as she entered the emergency wing, tears already streaming uncontrollably. When she saw him through the glass window, hooked to monitors, still unresponsive, she let out a cry so raw, so primal, that even the staff paused. She collapsed into the chair beside him, clutching his cold hand between hers. Doctors and nurses tried to speak to her, to explain, but she barely heard them. Her eyes never left Jung's face. She stroked his forehead gently, brushing back the hair he always kept neatly parted. In between sobs, she whispered prayers, begging him to open his eyes, to come back, to fight. Her voice was cracked, barely above a whisper, but her grief filled the room like thunder. Hours passed. The night grew longer. Yet Sandara remained unmoving, like a guardian statue carved from heartbreak and devotion. Word spread quickly across social media platforms. Fans couldn't believe it. Jung Il-Woo collapsed. Sandara is at his side, crying. These weren't lines from a drama. This was real. The hospital soon became a gathering ground. Fans brought candles, photos, letters. Some even sang softly, creating a quiet vigil outside the glass doors. Staff reported dozens of deliveries, flowers, blankets, lucky charms, handwritten prayers. The online world exploded with hashtags like hashtag #StayStrongIlWoo and hashtag #ProtectSandara. In the private waiting room, Sandara finally spoke. Surrounded by his manager, close friends, and a few family members, she clutched Jung's jacket to her chest. Her voice broke as she said, "He didn't deserve this. He's worked too hard. He never rests." Everyone knew she was right. Jung Il-Woo had always been the dependable one. Ever since his breakout role years ago, he had kept a grueling schedule. What fans didn't see was that he rarely slept more than 4 hours a night. He kept pushing more dramas, more commitments, more appearances. And even as his body gave warnings, fatigue, headaches, dizzy spells, he ignored them all. And Sandara, she had watched silently, loving him, worrying, encouraging him to rest. She had tried to slow him down. But Jung had smiled at her each time and said, "Let me take care of this, then I'll rest." Now, here they were. By early morning, doctors shared updates. Jung had suffered what appeared to be a stress-induced cardiac episode. His vitals were stabilizing, but his condition was still critical. A nurse whispered to Sandara, "He's listening.
Talk to him."
And so she did. She sat closer, fingers tangled with his, and whispered memories into his ears. Their first date. Their first fight. The time they danced in the rain, laughing like children. She told him about the vacation they still hadn't taken. About the future she still hoped for. About the wedding they'd only talked about in quiet late-night conversations, afraid of public scrutiny. And then something happened. His hand twitched. It was so slight, she thought she imagined it. But then it happened again. She gasped, calling the nurse. Within seconds, doctors rushed in. Jung's eyes fluttered.
Just barely.
But it was enough. Enough for hope to bloom. Sandara cried again, this time from relief. She kissed his forehead and whispered, "I'm here." The entire room felt lighter, as if a shadow had lifted. Outside, news had already spread. Celebrities began sharing posts. Fellow actors prayed publicly. Idols posted old photos with Jung and asked fans to send love. The country paused, because in that moment, Jung Il-Woo wasn't just an actor. He was a son, a friend, a partner, a man people truly cared for. Over the next 48 hours, Jung's condition improved. He began speaking in short sentences. The first word he uttered was Dara. She cried again. Though he was still weak, he asked her to stay. She smiled and said, "Try getting rid of me." The two shared a silent moment, no cameras, no scripts, no crowd. Just two people who had survived the darkest night of their lives. Doctors later confirmed that Jung would recover, but only with strict rest. His schedule would be suspended. Sandara promised him she'd stay by his side through every step of recovery. Her own commitments would wait. Nothing else mattered. This harrowing experience has changed everything. Not just for Jung, not just for Sandara, but for every fan who watched love and fear intertwine in the halls of that hospital. For every person who held their breath waiting for good news. And for every heart that broke seeing Sandara cry at his bedside. This story is no longer just about a health scare. It's about love, about devotion, about what it means to be truly present in someone's life, not just when the cameras are rolling, but when the world goes quiet and the only thing left is love. Let us all continue to support Jung Il-Woo and Sandara Park. Their journey is far from over, but together, they are stronger than ever. Please don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments, like this video, share it with others, and click the notification bell so you never miss an update from us. Thank you for tuning in to K-Update Pulse.